versus Roman Reigns is not a comparable thing no matter how you look at it. Because we look at it from past to present, let's be real. From their entire character from the beginning to now, a character that can evolve over time versus a character that hasn't even shown that it's two dimensional yet. We've only seen him really good as the tribal chief after becoming Universal Champion. And if he was showing any signs of it before becoming Universal Champion by aligning with Paul Heyman, it didn't make his character all the more better. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Roman isn't good. I'm just saying his character is at this point Universal Champion, and let's be real, he loses that title. We all know what happens. He has to go away for a long period of time, which is why he's not losing anytime soon. Because let's be real. Roman's the main thing on SmackDown. If they make him lose the title too soon, which I don't see until a little bit after WrestleMania, if you want me to be honest, it's a waste. But CM Punk's character can lose a title, well, can gain the title, make his character better, lose the title, and continue on with that same wavelength. It's a difference. His character hasn't been there long enough to compare to CM Punk's character, but hey, let's see how you somehow manage this. Apologies for my voice and sound the way it is. It's only because how I'm looking at it from the point of view of Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. The two aren't comparable in no circumstance. One's a big burly guy that can really hit really good and wrestle. I'm sorry, not hit really good. That can wrestle really good and make hits, and really hyped me up back in 2015 and 16. But CM Punk was the guy in 2002 and 2012. From that point on, even before then, he really was that guy in 2010. Even a little bit in 2000, and I think 9. I think it was. I think, if I'm correct. I just think CM Punk's just a golden star of a guy when it comes to wrestling, because he really is good, and it's really a shame. Well, it is coming from me. I do think Evan Bourne is still a good wrestler, so yeah.
When CM Punk returned to professional wrestling and made his debut in AEW, he instantly became the biggest superstar in that promotion. It's not even a question, to be honest with you. CM Punk is hands down the hottest act in AEW. On the other hand, Roman Reigns is the biggest superstar in the WWE right now. It's been like that for about 5 years now, and it's even more evident since
He's been pushed in front of us for the last 5 years. 5 years. Let's put that into perspective. He's been positioned to be the next big guy and didn't take it by how he should have taken it, in a sense. He was basically put in front of us like a John Cena character, but a renegade version of John Cena. I wouldn't call him a bootleg version. I would call him a military more guy of John Cena, because that's what it felt like. It felt like a military version of a John Cena character, a more stricter John Cena, basically. If John Cena wore a vest, was burlier, and was basically opposing his will on to others to achieve his goal, basically, not going against the grain. It feels like he's going with the grain and then trying to position himself against it when it comes to certain situations. That's what it felt like, if you want me to be honest with how I feel about Roman. I never hated Roman. I never do. I just disliked the consistency of making Roman the only person that can do it. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, the only one who can beat him. Dean Ambrose, in my personal opinion, should have been able to beat him in a technical sense, because I think if they would have let that match go how it should have gone, which should have been Brock Lesnar trying his best against a guy who's using a bunch of different weapons to take him out. And I think that's how the match really should have been. Seth Rollins have had a bunch of golden moments with Brock, so we've already achieved what he can do. But we should have achieved the same with Dean, because they all three of them could have beaten Brock Lesnar on respective ways, if you want me to be honest. But at the same time, they all could have lost in their respective ways also. So, go off, King.
turning heel in 2020. Roman Reigns is basically the WWE. He's the most important figure, and he main events every pay-per-view and has the biggest programs on each show. This begs the important question, who is the bigger star right now in wrestling?
CM Punk is. Yeah, it's a no-brainer, and to explain why CM Punk is better than Roman Reigns, simple. A longer-lasting character that wasn't shoved in our faces, that we all as a fan base looked and called the best. Not just because he claimed it, but because we knew he was. He was the best on the microphone. He was the best in the ring. He didn't have to have a brilliant ring psychology. He was just good in the ring at doing the base. Basically, his baseline was extremely good. How he acted in that ring was extremely good. The professionalism on him was good. The acting on him was amazing at times. At times, it was bad. Yes, he's had moments of being bad because that happens to everyone. Roman Reigns, on the other end, feels like, how do I put this? Roman Reigns, to me, the best that I've ever seen of Reigns outside of the Tribal Chief was of 2016, and I think a little bit in 17. The only reasons, because that's when Reigns was really starting this whole, I think it was 2018, I think it was, the year I'm really thinking about. I think that's when he really started the whole solo thing. And I think that was the match he had with Daniel Bryan. Because I feel like that was like one of the best versions of Reigns personally. Because that's when Reigns solo was just like, Reigns could solo it. It was like, that's when the funny meme came in of like Reigns versus Goku and stuff like that. Why? Because it was just a little fun little thing. It was just fun. But that's how I feel about Reigns. I just feel like he's really good as a character now and in the past, but it wasn't levels of CM Punk. CM Punk is levels above a lot of wrestlers that are just starting or having a few years on them. And the reason being is for this one reason. His character was able to last throughout time. His character was able to evolve from a jokey character to a more edgy character to a I'm the best and I know it character. The best and I know it character that he's claiming he is, it's true. He's the best. The reason he's the best is because he's good at all attributes. He's good at the face work. He's good at the heel work. He's spectacular in the wrestling department. Amazing in the promo department. He is literally what Kenny Omega isn't. He is what Roman Reigns should be, but Roman Reigns is right now. Let me restate that. Roman Reigns at this current time period is what CM Punk should be in the WWE. So I'll put it like this. CM Punk wins because of time. That's literally the reason he wins. Let's put it like this. If their characters started around the same time, then Roman Reigns would win. But because the characters started so differently away from each other, CM Punk wins because of he's been doing this much longer. That's my reason. May not be to some others, but that's fine.
Is it CM Punk or is it Roman Reigns?
CM
On a
Punk.
recent podcast, Jim Cornette actually said that CM Punk was the bigger star between the two.
Makes
and then
sense.
Roman Reigns even took a shot at CM Punk by tweeting that he's the real needle-moving draw that helped SmackDown surpass 2 million viewers last week. Because
nice.
of all this talk, I thought it would be a fun video to analyze
that's why.
which wrestler is the bigger star
I didn't
right
know this.
now.
I don't have Twitter.
We're going to make a case for both CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and I will give you my final verdict at the end of the video.
Okay.
Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Oh, okay. Commercial. I can't skip. It's 13 seconds long. Love it. Do I get flagged for this?
Rated PG-13.
Oh, PG-13. Never mind.
We're going to make the case for CM Punk first because his return is still fresh. Before
Okay.
CM Punk left WWE, he was one of their top stars. From 2011 through 2013, CM Punk was at the prime of his career. Regardless of what WWE thought, he was the bigger star than John Cena in 2011 and probably 2012.
Yes.
WWE never made him the number one guy because he probably organically got over with the audience, which is something that Vince McMahon does not like. It's bizarre that they have that mindset, but it does happen. The same thing happened to Jeff Hardy when he was the hottest thing in 2009. Anyways, CM Punk was big. He was doing huge numbers. His merchandise was always out of stock. CM Punk's run was so impressive because he brought back a generation of wrestling fans. People really started watching again because of one man. CM Punk had true star power. Unfortunately, he left in the prime of his career because of his mistreatment from the WWE and their doctors. If he stayed, he could have.
If he stayed legitimately, I don't think Roman Reigns would have been. I think Roman Reigns would have still been a big star. I think CM Punk would have allowed him to be it. Personally, I think he would have done everything in his power to make sure Roman was the bigger star some way, somehow, to eventually be past him. Because I think CM Punk would have had the lovely mindset as any wrestler should when you've made it. It's looking at the other talent now and saying, how can I make you bigger than me? How can I give you the tools to carve your own path of being greater than me? That's what every wrestler should be, especially once you reach that stage of I have nothing else to do. That's me personally, and you can tell what it was. I think the thing he had with Rusev, the whole Royal Rumble thing, I think that's what it was. If I'm correct, I don't remember. I think it was Rusev. I think so, but I could be wrong. Was it Rusev? Wasn't Rusev like 2015? Or was it somebody else? It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Possibly died because of his injuries that they were not treating him with well enough. Outside of that, his mental health was also deteriorating. It was time for him to leave despite being one of the biggest stars at the time, and so CM Punk left, and it sucked. WWE felt very weird without CM Punk. His last moment in the company was being eliminated from the Royal Rumble by Kane. It was not anything to be too proud of.
I think it was with Rusev because I think this was during the time when, that's when I was trying to position him as like, yeah, I think it was Rusev, the moment that he had where he was trying to make Rusev like something big. Like, I think Rusev didn't know what to do at the moment. I don't know Rusev's actual name, I'm sorry. But I think that's what it was.
When he first left, people were constantly chanting his name, hoping that he would come back, but that was not the case. It would happen for a few months before fans would finally give up. The occasional CM Punk chants would make some appearances, especially at the Chicago shows, but it was fading away. I still find it impressive that people were still chanting for him years after he left. After 7 long years, he finally came back to professional wrestling, and this obviously was not with the WWE. CM Punk would make his debut with AEW last week on Rampage. CM Punk's rumored, this was a rumor at the time, it was a rumor debut, not even officially announced, managed to sell out the United Center. It was the largest crowd that AEW has ever had. The debut also attracted an additional 400,000 new viewers to watch Rampage on cable, making it a complete success. That is a huge jump. More importantly, it's the YouTube views. CM Punk's debut was posted on AEW's channel, and it generated over 7 million viewers. I say this is more important because it shows the true interest in CM Punk. It's pretty difficult to get fans to watch a show on a Friday night at 10 p.m., especially when you consider that cable is not what it used to be. I think it's very clear that nearly 10 million people wanted to see CM Punk. After his AEW Rampage debut, AEW also announced that he would appear on Dynamite this week. That show had a 20% increase in its viewership from the prior week. CM Punk is clearly popular enough to attract around 300,000 viewers, but does that make him the bigger star than Roman Reigns?
No, that doesn't solo it, but it just proves how popular it is. What makes him the bigger star is his character and the stuff that happened to him that makes him the biggest star is because people wanted him years later. Roman Reigns takes a break and people still want him to come back. Yes, when the whole COVID-19 thing even went down, everything with the pandemic went down, yes, people still wanted Roman back, even though we understood why he's not there. A lot of people were kind of tired of seeing Roman. I think that's what we needed, a break from Roman. We were so used to seeing Roman on our screen plastered there so much that it reached the point of we needed a break. We got the lovely break that we needed, and we couldn't wait for him to come back. He finally came back in spectacular fashion too. A new character, not the same beefy guy that's just gonna tell me to believe it every 5 seconds. Sorry, if I wanted that, I would just watch Naruto. Except the beefiness.
While CM Punk spent the last 7 years away from professional wrestling, Roman Reigns would continue to grow as Vince McMahon made it his mission to become the biggest star for the WWE to take the mantle away from John Cena. Roman Reigns instantly main evented WrestleMania the year after he split from his former faction in 20.
Which I was actually hyped for. I don't care for a lot of people when it comes to this. I'm not gonna dislike Roman for popularity reasons. I'm gonna dislike him for obvious reasons. That I actually do. I like this match personally. I think this match was one of the perfect Roman Reigns matches that we've seen outside of him versus Daniel Bryan. Now, why do I state this? Because I actually cared. These are one of the few matches that I could say I actually cared for. I could have told you how the match ended between not this match right here, the one that we're looking at right now, but the match between Roman Reigns and I'm so sorry, Daniel Bryan. I actually liked that match. It was one of my favorite matches. If I had any power in me, I would give it a 5 star. Why? Because it was a pretty good storytelling match, and it was a really nice match to, let's be honest. You had the one that everyone wanted to win compared to what WWE wanted to win, but the difference between the two of them was one was brutal strength and one was a technician, was extremely good at that. It was a really good match that if anyone else can, I don't know, make a video on, because I don't know how to do things like that yet, please do, and I will gladly commentate over it, and we can all just have a good time about it. But in short, I'll put it like this. I like the match, personally. I would give it a 5 stars. The Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, I didn't like all of their matches. I think I like this one the most out of all of them. I didn't like really too many more after that because I was kind of tired of seeing Roman lose when he should have won by now. And when he finally did it, it was kind of like, well, dang, about time.
2015. Reigns and Brock Lesnar put on a classic match that would be the beginning of the Young Stars push. After that, it would start a very long program with Triple H and Vince McMahon throughout 2015 and 2016 that ultimately ended with another main event match at WrestleMania 32 with Roman Reigns defeating Triple H.
I did like this storyline also for one minor reason that made the storyline just a little more unique than any other. You had a third party. It wasn't just one versus one. It was a third party involved. And I love the idea that Dean could have took it all away from Triple H and could have faced Roman Reigns, which obviously then, obviously we would have seen Roman beat Dean Ambrose, obviously, but still, that I think it would have been a nice little curveball. That's what I like about sometimes WWE, the little curveballs that they do throw in, as this could be a thing. It may not have happened. It may have happened later down the line. It may have had the whole Shield reunion and all that, but still.
The next year after that, Roman Reigns was back in the main event picture, but this...
I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't like this match. I kind of really didn't. This was not my favorite of all Roman Reigns' main event matches, or just matches in general. This was a kind of lackluster one, if you want me to be honest, because I knew Roman was gonna win, and I get what this match was before it was even announced. When I saw what this was going to be, I already saw what this was. It was supposed to be a passing of the torch. I didn't like it because it felt too much on Roman's shoulders too quickly. I think that things like this have to take time for reasons, or happen later down the line or earlier on for little minor storytelling to make the storytelling seem better than it actually was. I didn't like this one, to be honest. I really did.
This time around, it was with The Undertaker, where he would actually defeat the Dead Man to become the second
Congrats
person
to him.
to beat him at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns did not stop there, no.
Didn't Undertaker want Roman Reigns to be the one to defeat the streak anyway?
WrestleMania 34 was just around the corner, and that is where he main evented yet again another Mania with Brock Lesnar for the second time. Things slowly shifted away for a bit because Roman Reigns was diagnosed with leukemia, but he recovered.
Yeah, everyone came out and booed him, and then he came out and then he mentioned that. He mentioned his name was Joe, I think, something like that. And it was like, ooh. That was also the night that Dean Ambrose betrays Seth Rollins, so yay, I guess. I don't know.
Quickly to make a grand return at WrestleMania 35. This match was not too special. It was against Drew McIntyre. It was more about the.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know this was a match. You want me to tell you how much I didn't know this was a match? I'm the type of person to rewatch like WWE highlights, well, wrestling highlights, and some people add like music to it, and I would watch it. I've seen this match so many times listed, and a part of me be like, no, that's fake. That's cap. This didn't even happen. And I genuinely do not remember this even happening. I felt like someone time travel took this away from just purely me, because I genuinely don't remember this happening, like, at all. I cannot recall who even won the match because I didn't even remember this was the match.
Dog coming back to WWE in such a short time to show off his resilience. Fast forward to WrestleMania 37, and that was where he was back in the main event scene of WrestleMania, and Daniel Bryan and Edge were unfortunately the two who had to suffer a loss by the hands.
This match was actually worth it, in my personal opinion. It was a match that was worth the time and energy. I kind of didn't like that Daniel Bryan was involved, because a part of me thought Daniel Bryan was going to take the fall, obviously. But Daniel Bryan wasn't just like both of them took the fall, which is kind of weird to say the least. Because I couldn't see him beating Edge unless they had a one-on-one, which they still plan on doing. They're just, holding it off for another time, which is still smart, instead of just giving it to us immediately. So, yay.
The Tribal Chief. I think it's safe to say that ever since turning heel, Roman Reigns has been carrying the entire wrestling industry for the last 300.
Okay, no, let's not go that far. He's carrying SmackDown in particular, because do not get me wrong, I am not saying that there's no other wrestler that's better than him in WWE. I'm just saying that he's doing his own thing on purely SmackDown. He makes me want to watch SmackDown. He doesn't make me want to watch Raw or 205 Live. He doesn't. Like, do any of you even still watch 205 Live? Please tell me.
65 days. This new version of Roman Reigns is producing the best work in the wrestling scene, and it's not even close. Being the cornerstone of the biggest wrestling promotion in the world does help a lot with star power. When you think of WWE nowadays, John Cena and Roman Reigns are the two names that typically pop up. I also think that...
Funny enough, there's still people that if you ask, they still think Batista and Triple H, because maybe Hulk Hogan. So people completely forget about if you say Roman Reigns, they'll be so confused, funny enough. But I mean, we're not talking about hardcore fans, are we? I'm not talking about hardcore fans, or even normal fans at this point. I'm just talking about people who just remembers wrestling. If you ask, they'll be like, Hulk Hogan's back? Like, no.
Roman Reigns is only going to become a bigger star after this new program with Brock Lesnar. And then after that, he is going to be involved in the biggest storyline of his career when he eventually wrestles his cousin, The Rock.
Which I can't wait for the Brock Lesnar one, because obviously I'm expecting Brock to have the kind of old Brock Lesnar, but less of the flexibility of how he used to be, and more of a brutal fighter that he should be. And I expect to see the most brutal fight out of these guys than we've ever seen ever. Literally, what I'm expecting from this one is to make every other encounter they've had a joke in comparison. because of one thing and one thing only. I'm expecting these guys to absolutely fight each other to the point where we think every other match Roman Reigns has had, he was going easy mode. He was on easy mode. Because I'm expecting Brock to be the thing that puts him I expect like 7 F5s in this match. And that's just from the get-go. No, but now I'm expecting a really hard-hitting affair, and then I'm expecting an endurance match against The Rock, if you want me to be honest. I don't expect like a 5-star classic. I expect a 5-star classic from this, and then like a 4.5-star match from The Rock, but feels like it's bigger only because it's The Rock. But yeah, that's how I feel.
Putting a Hollywood star like Dwayne Johnson in an important WrestleMania main event with Roman Reigns is going to rub off a lot of star power. And you also have to consider that this year's SummerSlam was the most watched SummerSlam of all time, and that was headlined by none other than John Cena and Roman Reigns. Is all of the work that Vince McMahon put into Roman...
Funny enough, I actually can't wait to see Finn Balor versus John Cena because of one minor thing. Remember when he first won the title, and I think John Cena was like backstage, took a picture with him and everything like that. I kind of think moments like that kind of add to the story, and like John Cena could bring it up and say, "Oh my gosh, this could be so good, bro. This could be like so good for Finn Balor."
Reigns enough to make the claim that he is the biggest star in the business today. And now we are at the end of the video, and I need to make my official take. Who is the bigger star, CM Punk or Roman Reigns?
If you don't mind, if me just put it like this, one more thing to say also, because I just thought about it. Future opponents. Roman's no longer at a point where he can take on people like a Braun Strowman or certain other wrestlers. He can't just take on like random wrestlers that CM Punk can. CM Punk is in a perfect prime position to take on literally anyone. He can make a good match with Cody Rhodes from the looks of it. Darby Allin is right now a good target for him. I wouldn't say Sting, but Darby Allin's a darn good target for him right now because he's already talked about it. Malachi Black is there. I forgot what's Buddy Murphy's name in AEW now. Him. There's so many good people that are aligned. That's only 3 compared to Roman's. Let's see, Brock Lesnar and The Rock, and then Finn Balor. I don't really see anyone else outside of another Edge match before the Finn Balor match, before he finally loses the title, to be honest. Just me saying. But CM Punk has way more potential of not taking the break soon. Just saying.
I'm going to have to go with Roman Reigns. This might upset some people, but I think it's the stone cold truth. Roman Reigns has been involved in way too many WrestleMania main events with too many legends. It also helps that he's the top guy for the bigger company that has more of a legacy, and a lot more people know about WWE versus AEW. The WWE reaches numbers that AEW isn't even close to. I know that it feels like CM Punk is the bigger star right now because his return is still relatively fresh, but that will eventually fade away in a few months. He's still going to be a big star in wrestling, but he's not going to be bigger than Roman Reigns. I guess the best way to put it...
What I was stating was that CM Punk is the bigger star for this reason, because he has a little bit more than Roman has, and with that, he can potentially be, I don't know, longer lasting than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is about to look like, from the looks of it, he's soon, like a few months from now, he's about to take a long break. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like Roman Reigns is about to take a good break from the opposite, and I don't know. That's what it feels like, because it looks like he's about that time. Well, not about that time. He still has to take on Brock, then The Rock. Brock, then The Rock, then Edge again, and then Finn Balor so he can drop the title and take that break that he needs, while CM Punk can be, still going against people like Darby Allin once again, Cody Rhodes, Malachi Black, MJF. Who else? There's so many people that the guy can go against right now that it's just like, are you sure? But I understand what he's saying for WWE, and because it is the bigger program of the two, yes, in a technical sense like that, Roman beats him. But in the long-lasting sense, CM Punk beats him. So, you see what I mean. But yeah, that's just my thing. That's my take. That's his take. We're on two different opposing sides. It's fine. It doesn't really affect too much. But alright, you guys. Let's end this. Then we'll go do something else, I guess.
Is that Roman Reigns is professional wrestling right now, the same way that Hogan was professional wrestling in the 80s, Stone Cold was professional wrestling in the 90s, and Cena was professional wrestling in the last 15 years. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you.
Alright. Be safe. Pray. The world's crazy out there.